Hello, I'm Austin, and today I want to explore the spooky month by covering a game that really surpassed all my expectations. The Silent Hill 2 remake is way better than I expected it to be. It is genuinely a fantastic horror experience. That said, this is coming from someone who is only familiar with the original in a historic sense. I really wanted to play it when the HD collection dropped, but I heard that was not good, so I never got around to playing it. Someone who is more familiar with the original may have more complaints or may be able to appreciate the changes more, but this is my first playthrough and I can say it holds its own as a horror experience. It's not something you need to play the original to enjoy, it's good on its own. So turn off the lights, get comfortable, and listen while I tell you should spend the spooky month playing Silent Hill 2 Remake. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe while you're at it, and tell me your history with Silent Hill. I'd love to hear more. I didn't have super high expectations for Silent Hill 2 Remake. I figured it would be good. I'm not one of the people who pretend Blooper Team puts out trash, but I didn't expect it to be a true horror masterpiece in its own right. It is a tense and stressful experience that kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. Blooper Team absolutely hit it out of the park, and I didn't expect that from them at all. I tend to like Blooper Team, but like I don't pretend they put out nothing but trash, I'm also not going to pretend they put out pure gold either. Most of their games are in the good 7 out of 10 range. Definitely worth playing, but they're not going to be the most memorable experiences in the world. However, Silent Hill 2 is easily the best game they have ever put out, and it stands on its own. It's one of the best horror games this year for sure. That said, Silent Hill 2 isn't perfect. My only real complaint comes from the fact that stutters quite a bit on PC. This is particularly bad out in the open city with the fog everywhere. It is still playable for sure, but running is more annoying than it should be, and constant stutters does hurt the immersion quite a bit. I almost forgot I'm not actually in third person. I also experienced a bug where I got stuck on nothing and couldn't move. I had to reload a save. That's always annoying, but thankfully I did just save, so I didn't really lose any progress. It only happened once, so I'm willing to forgive it. Just don't do it again, James, you gnat of a human being. That said, the game looks gorgeous and it has phenomenal atmosphere and is genuinely creepy. It's a type of horror that I really enjoy, where things are just wrong. Not even in ways that are always obvious. An abandoned town covered in fog is such a wonderful place to explore, even without the monsters lurking, waiting to pop out to sell me something. A one-way ticket to hell. Then you add apartments and other normal locations like a park and hospital. Horror that twists what you know to be something unfamiliar fascinates me a lot more than just unfamiliar hellscapes. Those can certainly be cool, but they don't have the same tension as familiar areas suddenly being odd and dangerous. I admit, this is very subjective. It's why games like Scorn just don't do it for me. It looks interesting, but it just doesn't have that tension I crave in a horror game. If everything is unfamiliar and hellish, then it all really takes the bite out of it for me. I understand why people may like it, but give me an environment like Silent Hill any day of the week. I just find it far more interesting and tense. It's part of why I love backtracking in Silent Hill 2. Backtracking can sometimes have a negative connotation, but it can be done very well. Going through the same hallways makes you become very familiar with an area. I end up not needing the very cool map system that auto-updates with important information. I memorize where everything is and I know how to get where I'm going without opening the map. Unlike in real life where I need Google Maps to go down the street. That makes it much easier to surprise the player and catch them off guard. It's very easy to let your guard down and become complacent when you are exploring the same area. You think you already killed all the enemies just for one of them to get up and attack you all over again, or for a new enemy to have been hidden and jump out at you. Silent Hill 2 does a great job of letting tension grow before throwing something at the player. It can be rather unpredictable, and it's a fantastic use of backtracking in a horror game. My familiarity with the area, combined with the absolutely excellent map, also kept me from getting frustrated and lost. The game is generally very clear where you need to go to progress. I was never frustrated just looking for an item to solve a puzzle to move on. Silent Hill 2 is the perfect example of what smaller open areas can do. Exploration wasn't frustrating at all and could be downright terrifying at times. How many times I let out a sigh of relief when a door was locked is high praise for this game. Entering a new room can be a terrifying experience. It gave me enough to explore to keep me engaged without becoming stale or frustrating at all. It's perfectly balanced and makes for a fantastic horror experience. One of the only real weaknesses in Silent Hill 2 is the puzzles are rather simple. I wouldn't have minded some that challenged my brain a bit more. I like how many of them involve exploring and studying the environment, but they tend to just be counting how many things that are there to get a number for a combination lock. I barely count that as a puzzle. Or it's just reading a note that basically spells out the solution for you and you just have to go find the object needed. Like the x-ray machine spells out the combination you need just to find a missing image, spray fungus cleaner on it since it's covered in fungus, then hang it up. It's way too simple. This is mostly offset by the fantastic environments, but I would like more in-depth puzzles. Especially since there's no real way to fail them, you can just wander around a place until you find the solution. If I could go back in time, I definitely would have played one difficulty up. I generally always play games on their default normal difficulty, but Silent Hill 2 just showered me with bullets and healing items that combat became a little trivial. The puzzles were also just too easy. I never felt like the clues were vague at all, they kind of just straight up tell you what to do. You can change the difficulty from the combat and puzzles separately, which I think is a really cool feature, and I definitely would have put both of those up. Well, that's a pretty boring use of a time machine. Since I mentioned combat, I may as well talk more about that. It's pretty good in the remake. Again, I haven't played the original, so I can't make any comparisons. I can only judge this on its own. It's no Resident Evil, but it isn't trying to be. James doesn't have a large arsenal. He has his nail board for melee, a pistol, and a shotgun. There isn't any inventory management, so you can have all the bullets and healing items you find. I often have over 20 healing items and 100 bullets between my shotgun and pistol. The enemies definitely have a threatening aura, but I could often shoot them before they became a real threat. It did make turning corners or fast sliding enemies very threatening. It isn't often, but you can get surrounded if you aren't paying attention. The enemies do have some teeth, even if I would have liked them to hit a bit harder. Hit me. I love the pain. I want to feel it. James also has a radio that I actually recommend leaving on. It creates static when enemies are near, and I know that sounds like it would take the tension out of it when you know there's an enemy around, but I actually felt it really added to it. You see, it doesn't go off when the mannequins are hidden, so you'll still be surprised by some enemies, and it will often go off and you're just looking around the environment frantically trying to find where the monster is. Sometimes there's not even a monster, it's just a bug you need to squish. That kind of tension really amped it up for me than if I just didn't know anything was there and I wasn't looking around. That's going to be a personal choice though, but honestly, I recommend at least trying and leaving it on and see how you like it. Silent Hill 2 works so well because it also has a very gripping story. I was interested in what was happening with James and the town of Silent Hill. I wanted to know how it ended. Obviously, I'm not totally unaware. The original Silent Hill 2 is a horror classic that fans have been talking about for 20 years. Some story bits have seeped their way into my noggin completely against my will. That said, I'm also stupid and I don't remember things well, so I'm going mostly blind. Not knowing all the twists and turns, I can say it works very well in the remake. I can see why this game is a horror classic. I only wish the original was available to play. I would love to play it and contrast it directly with the remake. Konami, sell the original, I'm willing to give you money. Don't you want money? The psychological aspect of Silent Hill and James is still wonderfully done. I love to see the journey unfold and slowly make connections as a player. Unravel the mystery of Silent Hill. It is definitely a mystery worth solving. I've only done one ending so far, but I know there are more. I definitely like the game enough where I can see going back and getting multiple endings. It's worth it, it's just a great game to play. Silent Hill 2 is simply an incredible remake of a horror classic. Having no play experience with the original didn't hurt my playtime at all. Silent Hill 2 Remake stands strongly as an individual title. Fans of Silent Hill 2 will be pleased with a new way to experience a horror original, and those who never played it will get a fantastic horror game all on their own. The story, atmosphere, monster design, and characters are all so well done. It has some technical issues, but overall, it's really good. This is just a game that understands horror, and it's such a great experience from start to finish. So you should play Silent Hill 2. Even if you don't have experience in the original or don't care about it, this is a fantastic horror game. It should not be missed. This is more than just a monster lurking in the shadow of original. This is one that deserves to be seen in the light. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, I really appreciate it, and leave a comment down below telling me your history with Silent Hill. I really don't have much experience with this series as a whole, and this really makes me want to go back and play the originals. So goodbye, and have a wonderful day.